Absolutely amazing weekend of sport, Liam. It's been amazing, and for those of you who went along to some of the Women's League matches during the weekend, you would have seen just some of the most amazing skills, some poor skills, but overall a really incredible weekend of sport.
It was. I was lucky enough to attend two of the games. The first at Icon Park. Absolute sellout.
You actually got let in.
I was let in.
You got let in.
I didn't think I would though. It was so packed. And I went to the Winning Over to watch the Dockers play the Bulldogs. Another sold out game. It was an unreal experience. Absolutely unreal experience.
And overall, 50,000 plus fans for the entire weekend. That's an unbelievable number. The AFL will have to start considering maybe upgrading to bigger venues. It's going to be incredible.
Oh, it was. And not just that. Let's take the credit away from the AFLW for 2 seconds here. It was a massive week in sport. You had the Rugby Sevens, you had the Auckland Nines, you had the NBA, you had the
The Diamonds.
Yes, you had the netball, you had Australia choking again in the cricket.
We can't take a trick.
We had the A-League. We had the most bizarre send-off you'll ever see. You had the W League. So we had it. If you were a sports fan saying you were bored this week, you are impossible to please.
Liam, not only that, we also had bees. We had wasps on a ground as well in South Africa as well. We're also going to talk about that later. But it's the second time in history that we've seen players ducking on a field for obviously good reasons. But it's been an incredible week of sports. So we're going to cover all of that, including the Super Bowl that's going to be happening later on today,
yes.
Liam.
First, we go to a song now. We got Corny Barnett, the double.
No, with David.
David Barnett.
It's a bit of a tongue twister. This
Oh,
song.
yes. We'll just chuck to the song. It's a good song here on the Sport Test. That was David by Connie Barnett, the official
You're going to get it right eventually.
I got it right. It's a massive win for society now.
Certainly is. Talking about massive wins, wow, wasn't it a big weekend in the AFLW? Big winners, of course, were Carlton getting over Collingwood 7-4-46, 1-5-11. Incredible what we were saying just before we came on air that the winners kicked between 6 to 7 goals and the losers couldn't get over 2 goals. So the winners certainly,
granted,
in the back lines, were doing a hell of a job.
Oh, unless we go down to Saturday and we watch the Dockers play, who, like typical fair, they played this is absolute, just like the men. Good defence. Good ball movement. Couldn't kick to save their lives.
No.
And had a quarter fade out. That was Ross Lyon coaching to the max.
Did they have a Zach Dawson equivalent in that team or
No. Everyone actually had talent, so
that's a relief. It's good to know. And look, the skill levels on show. We talk about some of the players of the match. Already Carlton Collingwood. Of course, the big talk of the week is probably Darcy.
How
she
good was Darcy
unbelievable.
If you want a player to start it off, everyone thought more hope. And
4 sausage rolls in your first game. That's a hell of an effort.
And unfortunately, let's talk about Moore. Poor Moore.
Poor Moora.
She really had no hope of winning.
Mo Hope, absolutely Mo Hope. It was disappointing. I mean, 4 touches. So I mean, her super coach points could have even been in the negatives.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Darcy could have well been on almost 200, could have almost Lance Franklin like. She was just unbelievable, and leads the I'd imagine the Coleman Medal or the equivalent.
She's got the goal kicking at the moment.
It's goal kicking. Well, it could be the Darcy Award at the end of this season.
Yeah, the Vesio Award.
The Vesio goal kicking award. I tell you, it was a big win. Adelaide also got up against the GWS Giants. GWS were pretty disappointing. Couldn't kick a goal until the last quarter. So 3 quarters without a goal, pretty disappointing. But Adelaide, very very good.
Yeah, Phillips. 3 goals, 3. Had a handful of the ball as well. Couldn't kick in the first half. Come out, kick 3 in a row.
Unbelievable.
Nice, right?
Copped a good old spray from the coach.
Yeah, probably. Go over to Saturday. You've got the Western Bulldogs playing against the probably half die-hard supporters, half bandwagon, riding off the premiership. At the whenever it was beautiful. Went there. Despite the scoreline, best game of the round.
Big call.
Big call. Ooh.
Big call.
The most evenly matched game of the round.
Yeah, I can live with that. I was there on Saturday night as well as Friday, and it was a very enjoyable game. Katie Brennan once again.
In terms of the two teams, quality and players, it was probably the best. Due to the fact that Freo should have been in front by a handful, probably like 3 goals at half time, And then they actually forgot there was the second half until the last quarter. We're nowhere to be seen in the third. Katie Brennan, the Bulldogs skipper, played like a skipper. Absolutely killed it for the Doggies.
Absolutely amazing.
That's why the Bulldogs are premiership favourites. They showed and they defeated Dockers 44-12.
And as we were saying before, the Doggies could be the first team in history to have a AFL Grand Final, a VFL Grand Final, and also a AFL Women's Grand Final. So, I'll tell you what, they are looking like it at the moment.
They did win the women's out of Melbourne and Bulldogs last year. They won that trophy.
They did.
Then we go over to the next day in the beautiful sunny Melbourne when the Demons took on the Lions.
Wasn't it a beautiful
Absolute
day? You would have
pristine
loved
conditions.
to be watching this game. They still managed to get about 6,500 fans there. So I really hope most of those people brought their ponchos.
Well, even the second quarter have to be cut short because of lightning.
Gee.
Which the Lions made the most of it. They kicked a goal at the end of the second quarter. Which brought in, then they won. Melbourne 1 goal 4-10 to the Brisbane Lions 4 goals 1-25.
Which is actually very good scoring in such really, really bad conditions, I must say. Down at Casey Fields, out of all places, they were playing that game at.
Yeah, maybe should have played at Punt Road.
Yeah, maybe Punt Road would have been a bit better.
That's technically like right next to the MCG.
But I think some of the major talking points out of this round was, of course, the crowds. We were talking about the first game that you managed to get into, Liam, but a lot of people didn't. 2,000 people were turned away. It was a sold-out venue, like most of the games almost.
It was,
24,568 people go into that game. It was very, very popular.
Which is 20,000 more than the first recorded game in VFL history at Brunswick Street Oval in 1897 with only 3,000.
And you wonder whether women were playing in that first game, whether it would have been more.
Granted that Australia only had the population of 400,000 then. But that could...
Still, people could have made it. Well, what day was it? On a Sunday, though?
Oh,
it was on a Saturday, so there's no excuse.
That was between Fitzroy and Carlton.
Oh, there you go.
Well, it's the only one I got here that actually has a recorded crowd. Talking about the Carlton game back to round one, how good was Davey from Brianna Davey for Carlton with the 26 touches and a goal?
26 touches. That is unbelievable. And she only got 2 votes for the game. Fair enough, because Darcy is the talk of the town. But Bianca Jacobson as well got 1 vote as well. She snuck in there, played very well, very, very slick skills. So they've got a very talented side, Carlton. They're going to be a team to beat this season.
Well, that's one of the biggest talking points I think I heard. Well, 2. One was more her performance, which is unfair on her due to the fact that she was, to the casual fans, she was the poster girl. So she was meant to come out and kick 10 goals and, be running off in the sunset. Wasn't her day.
Do you think the pressure got to her? I mean, it would have had to play a big part, the expectation going into that game.
Oh, there was Vesio in the forward line and everyone else was on more hope. So
That's right. That's right. Yeah. She was a standalone figure in the forward line for Carlton.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if she boots like 5 by 5 next week.
You'd think a player of such quality will come back next week and have a big game.
Oh, she will. She is the elite forward of the competition. And
she has Melbourne next week, and Melbourne were pretty ordinary yesterday, so she could well do well in that one. But the other thing is, we were talking just before in our introduction, 50,000 fans was the total figure approximately this round, which is just unbelievable. You would imagine that the crowds maybe, once the novelty starts to wear off, might decrease slightly, but even still, more than 1.1 million people around Australia. And also a peak audience of 551,000. Melbourne watched the free-to-air at-home games, and another 123,000 tuned in Fox Footy as well. So that's huge crowds watching.
Yeah, we're going to continue with the AFLW in just a second. First, we're going to a song. We've got Blame It On Me by George Ezra.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Sports Desk on SYN 90.7 FM. Of course, you're listening to Serpers and Liam, and we were just talking before about the AFLW and what a big success it's been. We've actually got some incredible statistics for you right now, and Liam is going to kick it off for us. And Liam, besides the 50,000 fan toll, we've actually got some historical figures for you.
Yes.
And these are quite amazing.
Well, this pretty much stems off a conversation I had with a guy last week. I'm not going to say the person's name. He's not interested in the game due to the fact that why would you want to go to a game where the team only kicks 3 goals? Each to their own, we're in a no-hating zone here. But I go back to round 1, 1897. Let's go back in now.
1897. For all you fans who were born around that year, you might remember this. So, Liam,
Yeah, let's jump in
take
out.
it away,
Let's
yes.
jump in out DeLorean.
Here we go.
So the total score for round 1, 1897 was 264 points due to our, and then go to round 1, 2017, about 208 points. Granted, the fact that there is shorter quarters now, plus it was atrocious conditions yesterday, it was a win. And one thing that everyone's got to remember about the league, this is the most important thing, give it time.
Give it time. That's right.
Like, there were some skills during the week that were definitely okay at best, but give it 5 years, wait. There'll be more teams, there'll be more training, and unlike Carlton's probably the best gelled team.
That's right, and I think we underestimate. I think we underestimate how important a gelling team goes. The full engine room needs to be working, and if the players all can gel and get along well and get that synergy going, they're going to have more success naturally. So I think you got to give it time. And some of those teams who didn't do too well, Collingwood, GWS, Fremantle, give them a couple of weeks. They will get better.
And granted, like the Hawthorn team of the 2010, they were not built overnight.
Oh, no.
They didn't have, probably 10 trainings. You should know this. How many training sessions would they have together?
3 a week.
So they had 3 training sessions a week. And, since November, I think they had a few weeks off for Christmas as well. Yeah. Plus, they have more, some of them are trained to be nurses, so I think they have more important things on their mind.
That's right.
So, given them a few years, there'll be a few players soon. Hopefully in the next decade, they'll become full-time players.
That's right.
The season will be longer. They'll have better training schedules. And before you know it, they're still be kicking 50 goals a week.
That's right. And bear in mind, besides some of the players who are playing in the curtain raisers, being the Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs games, some of them haven't been playing that much AFLW prior to this season starting. So a lot of them are a little bit inexperienced and probably not exactly match, conditioned as yet, but as they go on in the league, they will get a lot better. And I'm really looking forward to the next couple of weeks. It's just going to get a lot better in skill.
And I think the fact that they've exceeded expectations so much is really important for the AFL, because the AFL needs to back this.
Yep.
They need to pump a bit more money into it and things like that. And I think what the girls have done this weekend really shows that they deserve it.
Well, we also got to remember that this is 3 years early. The original idea for the AFL Women's was 2020.
That is correct.
And Gil McLaughlin was like, "How about we make it earlier?"
Yeah,
we would do it.
And he seems to be a guy who is putting things forward a lot more quickly. And I mean, the thing is now they're already talking about adding 2 more teams next season. They're talking about bigger venues. I mean, this is probably the best start to a season that anyone could have hoped for the AFLW.
And the thing the AFLW and all the supporters now need to realise again is there will be a drop off. There probably won't be a sellout for GWS Carlton next week. Carlton supporters might, they're not going to have much success in the men's. I don't think so this year. So probably you'll be,
That's right. It gives the Carlton fans, all those proud Italians on Lygon Street, something to cheer about, It is a good season for them. But we were talking just before we went on air about 120 years of the Carlton-Collingwood rivalry.
Yes.
And it is quite ironic how both these two teams actually played off in the inaugural match for the Women's League, which is quite amazing.
I 100% think this wasn't planned. They did not plan it as this
There
way.
you go. It's just meant to be, Liam.
Yeah.
It's just meant to be. Which is just incredible. And no, it was a big turnout. And I think this is going to be a women's rival that could definitely go on in many years to come.
Well, let's cast it back. And because myself and Lucy were at the Carlton game and we heard the original bell when Carlton went onto the field.
Oh, yes.
Very, very good moment, especially for all the Carlton faithful. All the Italians, like you said, who are probably loving it.
Did they have a couple of vinos streaming at the ground, Liam? A couple of glasses of vino, yes. Down at the corporate box, yes.
Oh, there was like a whole pizza box, selling pasta. It was the gelati stand. It was good.
Oh, bellissimo.
We'll cast our way back to round 7, 1897, when Carlton did play Collingwood at Princess Park, going down 41-35, where the women's destroyed Collingwood in not a close match with 46-11. So
yeah, the Carlton girls righted that wrong.
They did.
They did. It's been at the back of their head for a very long time, Carlton fans. They would remember that game very, very well.
I'll ask both of you now. We could probably talk about this all day if we could. Player of the round. Of all the games, player of the round.
Player of the round. Player of the round, I think, for me, would have to be either Bree Davey or Katie Brennan. Bree Davey, just 26 disposals. I think she got the most out of any player
she
of the round.
blitzed it.
She blitzed it.
And
She
a sausage roll.
And she kicked an
And a sausage roll.
amazing goal. If you saw that kick, it was like a bullet. It was amazing.
Beautiful hand pass.
And I think honourable mention goes to Darcy Vesio, of course.
The fours don't get enough credit.
But I think a
No,
player,
they don't.
I think a player that hasn't been spoken about enough for Carlton is Bianca Jacobson, just because of people keep saying that Darcy Vesio was very, very smooth on the field, silky skills. Bianca Jacobson shows some real composure, confidence, and assuredness on the field. Like every single time she got the ball, I felt like we were in safe hands. So I think she also needs to be acknowledged. What do you guys think?
I think, yeah. There's always those underrated players.
Those
especially
one
in the
percenters
new-
can't
yeah.
go
Yes,
underestimated.
exactly.
Especially in a new competition where you only know a handful of players. Like
That's
I
absolutely
did not
right.
know, I did not know who Darcy Vesio was until the weekend,
Mm.
and the only player I knew was the Fremantle captain, and I knew More Hope.
Yeah.
Oh, and I knew I can't remember her name, the one who played in the EJ winning game for the last 5 years.
Daisy, was it Daisy from
Abby
Melbourne?
Holmes. Abby Holmes.
Oh, Abby Holmes, the one that's also been working with Channel 7,
Yes.
doing the VFL coverage. Yeah.
Oh, and Daisy Pierce.
And Daisy
And,
Pierce,
and
of course,
I did read about a Brisbane player during the week on one of the news websites called Caitlin Ashmore, and she's from Brisbane. And believe it or not, she actually quit athletics. She was actually a very good javelin thrower, and she, like many of the AFL women's players, she does have a career outside of the footy, but she's also a black belt as well in karate. So there's not a lot she can't do.
So let's not get into a fight with her.
So you wait until it's rain, hail or shine. This lady's going to be out to fight. 25-year-old. She's done her teaching degree as well, so she's probably very good verbally as well. And so just watch out for Caitlin Ashmore. She's multi-talented.
Who was your player of the round, Michael?
My player of the round. Oh look, you can't go past Darcy. I have to put emphasis on forwards. As important as some of those balls out of the midfield are, you've got to kick those goals. And in in a match where a team kicks 7-4 and a team kicks 1-5, 4 goals is ultimately a big difference. So got to give it to her. I know it's probably an obvious pick, but you definitely got to give credit to those players.
I'm going a bit different actually. I'm going because I was at
Lateral.
both games. Unfortunately, I can't give it to a fellow defender. I love my defenders. A bit of a Danny Frawley type of thing. They don't get the credit.
Agreed. Yeah.
Joel Hamling should have won the North Sydney medal.
Yes.
Actually, I'm going to talk about Joel Hamling in a minute. I give Katie Brennan. Captains, I love when captains stand up.
Yep.
And she kicked the goal in the second when Freo had all the momentum, kicking all the points, and come on the champion. Katie Brennan stood up. They also kicked the goal in the third, and she had a blitz. She blitzed it.
She did.
A captain you cannot underestimate how important a captain performance is.
Exactly. She did really lift the Western Bulldogs on Saturday night. You could really tell that every single time went to the forward line, Katie Brennan was there. She was ready. They were definitely looking for her. And then she stood up, as you said.
Yes. Now, let's go to the funniest side of football.
Oh, here we go.
Last week, 2 Fremantle Dockers players had to miss training for eating bad pizza.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yeah. Shane Kirsten and Joel Hamling. Joel Hamling got it worse than Kirsten. He actually had to go to hospital, where Kirsten, he's actually at training now. Hamling's not. More of the story, I think, in my opinion, is one came from Geelong, one came from Bulldogs. They should have just stayed in Melbourne.
Now this is another question I've got to ask. That they're clearly inexperienced about where to go for pizza in Fremantle.
Yeah.
But second of all, do you think it could have been a bit of a ploy to strengthen these two up? They're probably thinking in Fremantle we are very strong with our diets. We've got a big immunity. Let's test out these boys. Let's put a bit of mystery meat on their pizza and see how they handle it.
Yeah, strengthen. Maybe they're not training as well. Let's strengthen them up. Yeah,
that's right. I'm blaming Zach Dawson for this one, but then again, I'm blaming Zach Dawson for everything. So
that's the fair way.
Sorry if you're listening, Zach Dawson, but yeah, mate.
Well, actually, our slogan for most years is it's Dawson's fault, but now our slogan this year is don't go 5.
Don't go 5.
The last 2 things before we wrap up about footy, we'll talk about. I think we all agree Dustin Martin's leaving Richmond. That was a given last week. With them putting off contract talks for the year.
Tell you what, and I'm an Essendon supporter. I'm not trying to be biased about this situation, but he did get very close a couple of years ago to signing for Essendon. So, never know.
I just think when you put off contract talks for a year, Fife has not yet. So that's the thing. Fife currently has not put off contract talks with Fremantle. So positive there. Last thing about footy. The players threatening the strike, I think, is absolutely pathetic.
Oh, it's pathetic.
And it's not the fact that these aren't first year players who are getting not much. These are the Pendleburys, the Dangerfields, who are getting more money than an average 9-to-5 worker. And then they come out and say, especially saying the public will support them.
Now listen, Liam, I think I have an explanation for this. A lot of the players during their off season, they go to places like America and they see the Kevin Durant's and the LeBron Jameses, and they're probably going, gee, they're being endorsed by Nike and all these sporting brands, and they're getting paid so much. Why can't that be me? And they're probably have these unrealistic expectations when they come back to Australia. I mean, get real. I mean, basketball is a very, very rich sport. If you just think about the celebrations, all that kind of stuff, and the players that are backed. It's ridiculous.
I think athletes get too much anyways.
Oh, it's...
Like, seriously, Mr. Pendlebury and Mr. Dangerfield, lads.
Absolutely, lads.
You run around an oval, you kick a ball, you do your hair, you don't deserve almost $1 million.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, let's just calm down, take a deep breath, do some yoga, or get in a really bad flat and add like Joel Selwood does.
When we also get back, we are also going to name the Forbes Sports Money Index 2016-20 athletes. So we're talking about the pay, and you probably will have a suspicion about who it is. I'm going to give you a tip. It's the two top played players are both football players, both soccer players.
And also, speaking of soccer, we're going to talk about the A-League and the A-League women.
Yes,
the
and
grand
the A-League
final
women's,
is
the grand
set
final.
for the women's. Here on the sports desk. And we've got Tennis Court by Lord here on 90.7. This is a sports desk with Liam and Michael here, and we're going to talk about pay and some soccer.
Yes, well, as I said before we went off air, the Forbes Sport Money Index have released their top 20 athletes in 2016. And drum roll, please, Liam. The winner is Cristiano Ronaldo from Portugal. And he took in a very, very lousy $114 million for the season, if you
cheap.
don't mind. Second place was Lionel Messi from, of course, the beautiful country of Argentina. He scored $106 million. Not too bad. I'll quickly rattle through the others. LeBron James, of course, as we said before, very highly paid sportsman. $100 million, if you don't mind.
And he still can't fix up his hairline.
And of course, talking about headlines, a beautiful set of kills for this man, Roger the Dodger Federer.
Oh, he's got beautiful hair.
The legend who is just, he's never aging. He's immortal. He gets paid $88 million, and of course, 2016 was a good year for him. Kevin Durant as well, $73 million, and Novak Djokovic, $72 million. Considering he did drop down to number 2 in the world rankings, pretty good.
Just a quick basketball thing: Durant gets paid more than Curry.
Yeah,
wow.
Curry is not even in the top 10. In fact, Kobe Bryant, who of course retired in 2016, is on $65 million, and he's at number 10.
But Curry's a very humble man. He's already had a media
He's a humble
conference
man.
saying that money, if he pays for money, what's the point of playing?
That's right. And he's and he's pretty loyal to his Golden State Warriors as well. So good on him. He's not up there, but maybe next year, maybe this year, he might.
If he keeps on hitting those half-court shots, you gotta pay someone for that.
That's right. I don't know who he's endorsed by.
Now let's go back to we're gentlemen, so ladies first, of course.
Of course.
The W League.
W League.
As we thought, we'll start off with on 4th of February. Perth Glory absolutely demolished Sydney 5-1.
Wow.
And not just that, their first goal. The first goal came in the 29th minute. No, Sydney scored the first goal of the game in the 23rd minute.
They did, yes, and it was a good win by wow.
I was like, they keep the goal on the 29th, 58th, 77th, and they're like, 3-1's not enough, and then just brew another 2 to seal their way into the grand final. And then the next day, Canberra United, the minor premiers, the champions, lost to Melbourne City in overtime with Fishlock breaking the deadlock.
Breaking the deadlock! He's been waiting to say this all day, ladies and gentlemen. All day. You couldn't ask for a better goal from Fishlock. And just what an interesting final this sets up. Perth v Melbourne, of course, at
Melbourne
Nib
go
Stadium.
back to back? Could they? Which will also,
a possibility.
And it's going to be in Perso Ground on the 12th of February, 2017. It'd be weird if it was like 2018. That'll be a long way for a grand final.
Seriously does, I'll tell you what.
I have a question for the both of you. What do you think about the FFA changing the time of the Canberra game? Because they came out in the week and they were worried that the temperature was going to be too high for them to play in the middle of the day, so they did actually change it from, I think, 2 p.m. till 8 p.m.
I think that's the risk of playing soccer. The main reason why soccer's in summer is for the publicity because you don't want to play during rugby and football season. I think it's a bit.
The thing
I think
is,
it's fair.
the thing is here, it was 36 degrees when they changed the conditions. But looking at it now, the heat was still at 30 degrees when they rescheduled it. So it's still very hot. It probably, I don't know, wouldn't have made a huge difference. I mean, you see it some of the games that they play in Brisbane whenever they have, pretty, hot and humid conditions. They have, of course, those water fans where they squirt out the water. But yeah, I mean, it kind of puts the fans out, doesn't it? Which is difficult. It's a lot to ask.
But I suppose it's good they were looking out for the girls' safety.
Yeah,
that's very true.
Safety first.
That's what you want. And at the end of the day, you want the players' well-being to be put first. And so, probably the right decision.
Now let's go to the A-League with, again, Sydney keeping the undefeated streak alive with a 0-0 win. Well, 0-0 draw, not 0-0 win. The Western Sydney Wanderers defeated Wellington 3-1. The Derby, depends where you're from. Victory defeated Melbourne.
Derby.
Victory defeated City 2-1 in a very controversial game, which we spoke about more in depth on Friday. But in short, Tim Cahill got a red card before even entering the field due to saying some bad words.
Yes, I'm looking at the photo here in the newspaper, and I think I can read his lips here, and he does not look very happy at all.
He's saying, "Hey mate, you're doing a fantastic job. You go take care of yourself."
Yes, his front teeth are over his lip, and he's going. So he's obviously thanking him.
Yes.
For capital F.
At the end of the night, Perth Glory won 3-2 against Newcastle, and Central Coast Mariners with another win, winning 2-1 against the bottom of the ladder Adelaide United. And the reigning premiers, apparently.
Yeah, well done, Central Coast Mariners.
Yeah.
You're on 16 points. You've had 4 wins for the season. 4 draws, but 10 losses. It's okay. It's okay.
Let's do a brief wrap-up of sport this weekend because we've got a big Super Bowl to talk about as well later on.
Certainly do.
In the Sydney Sevens on the weekend, South Africa defeated England in the final, 29-14. We go over now to the Auckland Nines.
Oh.
Which, if you're a Melbourne Storm supporter, you'll be very frustrated because in the prelim final against the Sydney Roosters, they scored a field goal with a minute to go. Let's go into that. A minute to go. And then from the kickoff, they got a try. From the kickoff.
Oh, no.
They couldn't even lay a tackle.
That hurts.
It was not even a down. It was from the kickoff. They passed it and easy as you like. And then Sydney went on to beat Penrith in the final 10-8.
Now, of course, in the quad series over in South Africa, of course, the Diamonds have went into the game against England, and of course, we always love beating England if you're an Australian. They fought very, very hard in this victory. 47-46 victory over England at Wembley to finish the tournament undefeated and take home the title. And of course, thrashing New Zealand earlier in last week. That was a very, very important win as well. And also in the tennis, Jordan Thompson has completed a memorable Davis Cup debut, leading Australia to a 4-1 thumping of undermanned Czech Republic at the Kyrgyz. And so very good job by Thompson. We go into the quarterfinals now. Nick Kyrgios still in as well. But Groff was, I think, out in the recent round gone by.
Yes. Back to the rugby sevens. Oh no, Auckland Nines. I mean, the Australian Gillaroos did a clean sweep against the Kiwi Ferns 3 games, 4-20, 0-8, 4-14. So a good win by the Aussies there after winning the first game last year and then losing the next 2. I don't know if you've ever watched the rugby league, the females versus the female Aussies versus the female Kiwis.
Oof.
I understand with the men's, right? You see the men's line up, and they look evenly matched. I watched this game, and every time they tackled the Australians, the New Zealanders tackled the Australians, I thought they were going to die. Oh God, the females were scary.
Did the females do the haka as well?
Oh, I didn't watch the start. Oh, maybe because it was such quick games. I don't think they did.
Yeah, no.
Because you were in and out. And then let's talk about the biggest disappointment, Mr. Hazelwood. Can you please step up?
Oh. If Josh Hazelwood was on a large shipping liner and he was an anchor, you just wouldn't trust him, would you?
If he was a Titanic, he would miss the iceberg.
He would miss the iceberg.
Accidentally,
yep.
Of course.
Of course. He would play a stupid shot and get out very cheaply.
Let's talk about the first one where Mr. Stoinis, Sir Stoinis.
Marcus Stoinis.
Absolutely blitzed it. Almost won off his own bat and got a stupid run out. Go forward to today. Starko yesterday, Starko was winning a good performance. We were 24 runs to win off 3 overs. play it nice and safe.
That's right, 33 off 33, and it was about 3 wickets in hand, and it was looking pretty good. Cummins was at the crease, he was looking all right.
Cummins got
51 run partnership, and it was looking pretty good at one stage. But 281. It's anything below 300 is a very chaseable target.
Zampa got out from ball, then Mr. Hazel stood up. And what does he want to do? Hey, my stumps are here. Hey, you just have a nice ball.
There we go.
Oh, and we lost the series. That seems to be, I know you can say because of our, we've got all the players out. Wade, Warner and Smith, but we should beat New Zealand, and we never seem to win in New Zealand anyway, so it seems to be our thing.
Now, another thing we must talk about just before we go to the break, Australia over the last couple of years have had pretty dismal performances with the bat and some pretty serious batting collapses. Of course, in Hamilton, the locals could recall Australia losing 8 for 97 in that ODI series decider last year. And of course, just recently, we lost a whole clump about 6 for 58. That is another pretty sad batting collapse. But we need to look back. Since June 2015, Australia have been very dismal with the bat. I'm going to read out some of the batting collapses. And, it seems to be a recurring pattern, and we've got to do something about it. And it all seems to happen from the middle order. And so you'd remember during the Ashes, Liam, in Cardiff, we lost 7 for 101, and then in the second innings, we lost 9 for 145, so very low scores. Trent Bridge was probably the worst. We lost 10 for 56, so bowled out completely for 56. And in the second innings, we lost all of our wickets for 140. Even in our home turf, we lost 8 for 116 against New Zealand.
What about the one just last year? Was that there? When I think we didn't even make 100.
Yes,
in,
very disappointing.
Hobart.
Of course, in the series that no one watched in Sri Lanka, we lost 9 for 52 in our first innings in Gili. In Colombo, we lost 9 for 112 and then 9 for 60. And then, of course, recently to South Africa at the Wacker, 10 for 86. So bowled out for 86. Now, I don't know what needs to be done, Liam, but we can't seem to make big totals, but we keep seeming to lose massive clunks of wickets.
Well, I think it's a confidence thing. I know this is not an international, but the Melbourne Stars versus Hobart game in the 2020. Hobart got a guy, I can't remember his name. He made his first ever century. Full blank at the moment. And I thought Hobart was going to collapse. They ended up winning the game. It's just all about confidence after you lose that big wicket.
That's absolutely right.
Australia has a bad habit of losing that big wicket and then be like, time to go home.
The problem is, when we lose a big wicket, we lose 3 or 4 afterwards, and that's the problem. We need to have more confidence, and it's all a mental thing. Cricket is a very mental game, so if Australia can fix that side of it, come a little bit mentally stronger, hopefully in India we can play a little bit better.
Yes, and we are lucky enough to be able to go to America, surprisingly, to talk about the Super Bowl next.
Oh, yes, it's going to be very exciting. LI!
This is Loose Change by Royal Blood. You're listening to Sportcast on 10.7. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl, and I'm going to make it really clear for you Australians out there. So,
well, I'm awfully excited about this Super Bowl.
Oh, thank you, Donald. We got the President of America here on Sportcast in exclusive. So you got the New England Patriots against the Atlanta Falcons. And for you Australians out there, I got the teams. For New England, you got Tom Brady, and Tom Brady. For Atlanta, you got no one. Don't need to worry. Let's go with the Patriots.
What about Matt Ryan?
Matt Ryan doesn't count.
Oh, come on.
He does not count.
That's fair enough. Please continue.
Yes. And it was a good way to the Super Bowl with Atlanta defeating the Green Bay Packers 44-21. And with the New England Patriots, they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 36-17.
I gotta say, it's been a hard road to the finals, but you always find New England Patriots there. Much like my presidency, it's a bit of a fluke sometimes.
And this is Super Bowl 51. 51 years of the Super Bowl. And what a way to kick it off in America.
I mean, this is going to be very, very exciting.
Oh, thank you, Elvis.
Thank you very much. We live in the stadium. Thank you very much.
The Super Bowl is that important that Elvis came back to life.
Well, I think I think in this Elvis Presley voice, there's one statistic I should mention. On average, Super Bowl fans will eat 114 billion hamburgers, a Hong Kong burn love, during the big game, of course.
Dad, nothing. That's what I have for lunch.
We should mention that 114 billion hamburgers, that's per person, it's not the whole crowd combined.
That's before the end of the first quarter. They just
I was going to say.
munch them down.
But this is just a myth. But Americans would have to eat 46 hamburgers for that to be true during the match, which I could actually believe.
I love the snacks. You see the snacks they use, and they all looks nice. We've been to probably a few grand final barbecues in our day.
Oh.
But we have probably good snacks, good burgers, and that's about it. With America, they just have everything.
Now this is another funny statistic about the big appetites during the Super Bowl. Apparently, and this is just a myth. The food myths believe that more than half of all avocados consumed annually in the US are sold in the week leading up to the Super Bowl Sunday. How does that work?
They just want to have an avocado, you know?
They want to have some salsa and some avocado, some guacamole. It's going to be a good game.
Lady Gaga's doing the halftime entertainment.
I think the biggest question out here is, first of all, is Lady Gaga going to be wearing a famous suit, the meat suit? Wrong. Not right. Throw it on the grill. No. I think she's past that stage now. I think they've actually put Lady Gaga in a vault when she's got a beautiful voice. She's a natural-born entertainer. But we're going to wait for her to go through that crazy stage, and then we're going to bring her to the 51st Super Bowl.
Yes, I love when celebrities go for their crazy phase. It makes everything better. I know the best thing, the Super Bowl is the reason why the AFL want to do that stupid rule and make our grand final nighttime or twilight. Don't wreck with tradition.
The thing is, with the Super Bowl, they have some amazing ads featuring these very, very well-known comedians.
And millions of dollars ads.
What are they going to play? They're going to play Katut and... are they going to do that again? No, we can't match them.
Calm the bunnies, you're going to go on a snag.
Yeah. I took my droid down to Bunnings to get my snag. No. People don't care about that. The thing is, I think it's been a Super Bowl tradition that they've had it at night, and it's became a marquee event. In fact, a lot of people go to the Super Bowl not just for the ball game. If you remember last year, it was a kind of a pretty lackluster game, but this season, expecting a little bit more.
Before we wrap up, who's your tip?
I'd love the Atlanta Falcons to win, but I think with Tom Brady in any side, you got to tip them.
Yeah,
you got to tip the New England Patriots.
I've been a Falcons fan from way back.
Goddamn!
But you can't go past the Patriots at being the best team all season. So we got to go Patriots, but I love the Falcons to win.
Gotta love the Atlanta Falcons.
So I'd like to have a big thank you to our hillbilly Donald Trump, and Elvis is coming back.
Thank you very much.
An exclusive. Elvis is back.
He's back. The conspiracy theories arrived. Hong Kong and
We've had a massive show here today. We talked about the AFLW, the W League, the A League, the cricket, the netball, the football, the basketball, the snail racing, the horse racing, the dog racing, the cat racing.
Every kind of racing.
Every sport you can name it, we spoke about it here on the Sports on Sin 9.7. After this, we got Schools on Air. This is Liam and Michael. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you very much.